Okay, good morning, everybody. Can I get a quick sound check? Make sure this thing's working. Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, let's give a rapid rundown. It's pretty simple stuff. It's what I would call garden variety setup this morning. We'll see how things unfold, but it's a pretty typical setup. So here's what we have. If they drop them out of the gate, I like a spike of 398. I put it at 397.90 on the Inside the Numbers commentary page down to, and this is where it gets a little tricky, it's a little bit wide, 396.75, give or take. Now, that's not to say they're going to get to the 396.75, but the support zone certainly begins with a spike of 398. So that becomes trader's choice. You can buy them both. You can buy 3 times, one in the middle, and you can wait for the lower numbers. That's really a risk type of decision for the individual, but I will be a buyer down in that zone. What if they rip them up at the open? 400 is magnetic, and 400.60, give or take, is the gap from last night's close. So that zone becomes overhead resistance. They start pushing above that, and it opens the door for a spike of 401 and then up to 402 potentially. But we don't know any of that yet. These are the both sides of the tape. Okay. I'm likely a buyer, but I'm not sure that I'm a seller up there for the trade back down. Remember, we're in an uptrend, so therefore I would rather be a buyer than a seller, but not to say that is overhead resistance and should give you at least a scalp opportunity. Can they blow through it? If they do, they're going to go to 401.30, 401.35 in that neighborhood. But that's a individual decision if you want to take that short. I don't think I will, but we've got to see how it opens first. If they ran right up there, it's a possibility. But it's certainly a trade that would be on the board. It's just a matter of who wants to take it. So the line in the sand here is going to be 398.72. Well, they already broke below it. So that opens the door for the spike of 398. Short-term stuff, but that's where we are. Recapture that other number, which was 398.72, and they'll try and rally it a little bit towards 400. Just looking for anomalies. That's what I do when I look around. They're doing the normal thing. They're trying to recapture one thing, and they may spend a few minutes trying to make a run up to 400. It's not a trade you can say, hey, let me take this and run up to 400, because you don't know that they will do it. What I do know is there's a better odds in your favor that there is resistance up at 400, up to the gap from last night at 400.60. So it's a matter of what is the better opportunity on the board. And right now on the upside, that is the better opportunity, not to ride it up, but the resistance when they do get up there, just how we think about the tape currently. I'd like to get it down to 397.90, and that maybe a little lower. You want to try and get them as low as possible. So if they spike 398, maybe it's another, you make them go a little lower if you want, but that's a stingy thing to do. But a lot of traders work that way. They get paid a little bit extra sometimes. But if they're going to bounce, my philosophy is why I say give or take, because in the big scheme of things, if they're going to bounce, we don't know exactly where they're going to bounce from. And if I'm sitting out of the money by a few cents for a while, or even 50, 40, 60 cents, whatever it is, that's okay. In the big scheme of things, I'm not looking for 2 points. That's why I feel that way. I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to give it a little bit extra room to get a little bit extra gain when I feel like I have a good zone. This is a good zone, I think. And I'll repeat things that I repeat, other days, because there's people that are here for the first time or whatever, didn't hear it last time. I'm not a willing chaser, because we think, oh, did they make a low already? Well, let me just hop on here. I'm not going to do that. I'm still going to wait for my price, which is a spike of 398. If they run away, there'll be another trade later, but I'm not going to chase it around, because as soon as you do that, they go in the other direction most of the time. I'm not willing to play that game. I mean, new low. There's your spike of 398. I didn't buy it. I could have. It's not that it was wrong if you did. I just didn't. I was literally taking a sip of coffee, and I didn't even have my my hand in the right spot on the mouse where the buy button was. So I just actually missed it. But it's still not wrong. I would just wait. Technically, I was waiting for a little bit lower anyway. We could call it sleeping at the wheel-ish for the moment when that happened. Well, if you did buy it, let me give you some stuff. 398.70, 75 is a scalp target for a little tiny scalp. If you bought it down there, it's not, I mean, 7 points. I'm trying to type and think and we'll do all this at the same time. And the next number is 399.15 is the high of day. Let's see. A little battle over at 398.70, 75, you know, that neighborhood. That's normal. I'm not ready to say they're going to run away just yet, but if they get above 399.15, 399.15, that's a first signal, first sign. Seeing a little bit of weird stuff on the tape. I just saw from the current 5-minute candle to the next, from the previous, I saw, yeah, it wasn't a lot, but it was certainly some kind of spike. It was a little strange, just the way it jolted. It's almost like my data feed froze or something else happened. I'm not sure. PMI data. Oh, that's what it was. Okay, thank you. I always forget about that one. What happens at these data release points, 9:45 sometimes, 10 o'clock other times, some are in the afternoon. You get these little jolts in the market. The machines move them around a little bit on however they're programmed, whatever it is, doesn't matter. It's always the same. And sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. You don't know if it's going to happen. You don't know how much and where it's going. It just, for a split second, sometimes it jolts the market. Or it takes off in one direction or another. As a result, you know, it's a spark. But there's nothing you could do about that, those events, other than not be there if you're waiting for them, if you don't want that risk. Technical issue on some stocks. Thank you. Makes sense. And there's your push. So a spike of 398 only by 2 pennies. I wasn't in it. I don't know if anybody in here was in it. I wish there was. It was the zone. I was looking for a little bit lower, but that was it for now. I think that's what they that's what they want to do. Got tongue-tied, sorry. Okay, so I just updated the notes. You know everything I already told you first. So it's basically 400 to 460 is resistance. That's where they're headed, into that zone. It's likely they fill the gap. And 398.65 is your somewhat of a line in the sand / support on the way down if they pull back. If they get below that, it opens the door for the 398 and below thing all over again.